The day my sister found out, I was sitting in front of a cheap bedroom mirror in a second-floor apartment outside Columbus, Ohio, wearing a soft gray sweater, black leggings, and half a face of makeup I didn't know how to finish. My hand was shaking so bad I kept missing my lip. Jade was standing behind me telling me to breathe, and all I could think was this: I don't want to take this off. Not this time. That was the worst part. Not getting caught. Not the lying. Not even the fear. The worst part was that for the first time in my life, I felt calm in my own skin. And deep down, I already knew that once I left that apartment, I was gonna lose it again. So before I tell you how my sister ended up standing in that doorway looking at me like she didn't even know who I was, do me one favor. Hit like on this video, and if this story reaches 200 likes, I'll post part 2, because everything that happened after that hit harder than I was ready for. My name is Ethan. I was 19, going to community college, living with my mom and my older sister in a cramped apartment 20 minutes outside Columbus. My dad worked overseas and came home maybe once a year if we were lucky, so most of my life was just mom being exhausted, Maddie acting like she was half my sister and half my third parent, and me trying really hard not to draw attention to myself. From the outside, I probably looked normal enough. I went to class. I came home. I took the trash out when Mom asked. I forgot dishes in the sink. I fought with Maddie over dumb stuff like chargers, leftover food, parking spots, and who used the bathroom all morning. Just regular life, nothing interesting. But there was this thing in me I had been carrying around since I was maybe 13. I never had good words for it. Back then it was just a feeling, a pull. Something quiet and embarrassing that would hit me at random and stay stuck in my chest the rest of the day. My mom folding laundry on the couch. One of Maddie's cardigans hanging over a chair. A soft camisole strap showing under one of her sweaters. Tights left in the dryer. Drugstore makeup spread out across the bathroom sink. I noticed stuff like that. Too much. And every time I noticed it, I got mad at myself for noticing. I was never the kind of guy who did crazy risky stuff. I wasn't sneaking girls into the house or drinking in parking lots or any of that. My secret was smaller than that and somehow felt worse. Sometimes, when nobody was home, I'd stand outside Maddie's closet and just look at the door. That's it. Just stand there with my pulse pounding for no reason. A couple times when I was younger, I touched one of her sweaters. Once I held a bra in both hands for maybe 3 seconds before putting it back exactly where I found it. After that, I sat on the edge of my bed feeling sick, like I had crossed some line I could never explain to anybody. So I shut it down, or I tried to. Middle school turned into high school. High school turned into college. I got taller. My shoulders filled out. My voice got lower. People treated me more and more like a man, and I got better at acting like one. But the feeling never left. It just got quieter, heavier, more private. Then I met Jade. The first time I really talked to her was in the computer lab on campus. She was sitting 2 terminals down, cussing under her breath because the printer jammed for the 3rd time, and I laughed before I could stop myself. She looked at me, rolled her eyes, and said, "You laughing because it's funny, or because you're not the one dealing with it?" I got up, helped her clear the jam, and that should have been the end of it. But after that, we kept running into each other. At the coffee stand by the student union, outside the science building, near the bike rack when classes let out, we started talking about ordinary stuff first. Professors, deadlines, money, her job at a beauty supply store, my mom working too much, her neighbors being loud, my sister being impossible. Jade had this way of talking to you like she was paying attention for real, not waiting for her turn, not pretending, actually listening. And she noticed things. That was the scary part. One afternoon, we were sitting outside campus drinking burnt coffee, and she said, real casual, "You always look like you're about to say something and then decide not to." I laughed it off, but she didn't. She just looked at me and said, "You do?" I went home that night irritated because she was right. Over the next month or two, Jade became the person I talked to most, not because I planned it. It just happened. She was easy to be around, funny when she wanted to be, blunt when she needed to be, and weirdly gentle in these little moments I didn't expect. I knew she was trans before we ever got close. Everybody on campus knew. Some people were nice to her. Some people were fake nice, and some people were just assholes. Jade handled it better than I think I would have. Still, every now and then, there'd be this look on her face, just for a second, like she was tired in a place most people couldn't see. Maybe that was part of why I trusted her. Maybe I felt like she would understand what it meant to spend half your life hiding from people who thought they already knew you. I didn't tell her right away. I almost did a few times. Then one night, we were in an empty computer lab after most people had gone home. It was cold in there, and one of the ceiling lights kept buzzing like it was about to die. Jade was finishing an assignment. I was staring at a blank screen, pretending to work. She looked over at me and said, "Okay, what's wrong?" I said, "Nothing." She gave me a look. I tried to laugh, but it came out weak. Then I said, "Can I tell you something without you looking at me different after?" Her face changed right away, softer, serious. She turned in her chair and said, "Yeah." My mouth went dry so fast I almost backed out. I stared at the keyboard for a long time before anything came out. And when it did, it came out ugly. I told her I'd been hiding something since I was a kid. I told her I didn't know what it meant exactly, only that I'd always had this pull toward women's clothes, toward softness, toward the thought of seeing myself differently than everyone else did. I told her I'd never said it out loud before because even hearing it in my own head made me feel ridiculous. I got halfway through saying it and my throat just closed up. I hated that. I hated how fast I lost control. I kept rubbing my palms on my jeans and saying, "I know it sounds messed up. I know it does." Jade got up from her chair and came over slow, like she didn't want to scare me off. "It doesn't," she said. I shook my head. "You're just being nice." "No," she said. "I'm being honest." I still couldn't look at her. She leaned back against the desk beside me and said, "Ethan, listen to me. You are not the first person in the world to feel this. You're not broken. You're not disgusting. And you do not need to say all this like you're confessing to a murder." I laughed once, but it came out rough and embarrassed. Then I did cry. Not dramatically. Not like some movie scene. It was worse than that. Quiet and humiliating. I bent forward, covered my face, and just fell apart sitting there in that stupid lab while old computers hummed around us. Jade didn't crowd me. She stayed right there. After a minute, she said, "You ever actually try anything on?" I shook my head. "Not even once?" I swallowed hard. "Not really." She nodded like that made sense. Then she said, "Okay, then don't decide what it means yet. Don't label yourself tonight. Don't panic tonight. Just be honest tonight." That hit me harder than all the comforting lines people say when they don't know what else to say. Just be honest tonight. That was new for me. After that, we didn't turn it into some giant dramatic thing. We just let it exist between us. Jade asked questions sometimes, but not in a pushy way. More like she was helping me hear myself clearly for the first time. A couple weeks later, she texted me on a Saturday afternoon and said her roommate was gone for the weekend. Then she added, "No pressure, just saying." I stared at that message for 10 minutes before answering. When I got to her apartment, I almost turned around twice before knocking. It was one of those older apartment buildings with narrow stairs, chipped paint, and the smell of somebody's dinner drifting through the hallway. Her place was small but clean. A thrift store lamp in the corner. Makeup spread across the dresser. A half-burned candle on the windowsill. A grocery bag on the counter with ramen and iced coffee in it. Nothing about it felt staged. That helped. Jade didn't make it weird. She didn't tease me. She didn't start lecturing me about self-discovery. She just opened her closet, pulled out a few things, and laid them on the bed. A soft sweater, a black skater skirt, leggings, a simple bralette, a little makeup bag. My chest got tight just looking at it. She picked up the sweater and said, "This one's forgiving. Start there." I stood there frozen. She looked at me and gave me this tiny shrug. Or don't. Entirely your call. That mattered. I took the clothes into the bathroom and locked the door. For about a minute, I just stood there staring at myself in the mirror over the sink. Same face. Same body. Same scared look I'd had my whole life anytime I got too close to this part of myself. Then I changed. The first few minutes were awful. Not because it felt wrong, because it felt bigger than I thought it would. My hands were clumsy. I kept snagging the leggings wrong. The bralette sat weird because I didn't know what I was doing. I must have adjusted the sweater 15 times. I looked down at the skirt and thought, Jesus Christ, what am I doing? But I didn't stop. When I finally opened the bathroom door, Jade looked up from her bed. She didn't grin, didn't laugh, didn't make it into a reveal. She just looked at me and said very quietly, "Okay." I said, "Okay, bad or okay, good?" She smiled a little. "Okay, like you should come look at yourself before you decide." I walked over to the mirror by her dresser, feeling like my legs barely worked. And what I saw there wasn't perfect. Not even close. I didn't look like a girl. Not fully. Not neatly. I looked like a scared 19-year-old boy wearing borrowed clothes and trying not to breathe too hard. But underneath all that, there was something else. Something I recognized immediately. Relief. It was so sudden, it almost made me angry. All those years of shoving it down, mocking it in my own head, treating it like some rotten thing I had to hide. And then, here I was in a second-floor apartment in Ohio, wearing a thrifted sweater and a skirt from Target, feeling more okay than I had in months. My eyes filled up before I could stop them. I turned away fast, embarrassed. Jade stood up and came closer, but not too close. "You don't have to freak out," she said. I laughed once and wiped under my eyes with the heel of my hand. Little late for that. That made her laugh too. And thank God for that laugh, because it broke the tension just enough for me to stay. After that, Saturdays became ours. Not every Saturday, just the ones we could get away with. Sometimes it was only clothes and a little mascara. Sometimes Jade would show me how to smooth concealer under my eyes, or how to stop hunching my shoulders like I was apologizing for being in the room. She taught me little things no one had ever taught me, like how panic shows up in your body first, how to slow down when your hands start shaking, how not to tug at every inch of fabric like you're trying to hide inside it. And yeah, sometimes it was awkward as hell. Sometimes I smudged eyeliner so bad I looked like I hadn't slept in a week. Sometimes I'd hear a sound in the hallway and go stiff all over. Sometimes I'd change back into jeans and a hoodie and feel so low on the drive home I'd have to sit in the parking lot a minute before going upstairs. But I kept going back, because once I'd seen that version of myself, even imperfectly, it got harder to pretend I hadn't. A few months in, Jade started calling me Lily. The first time she said it, it was so casual I thought I imagined it. I had on a soft cream sweater, light mascara, lip gloss I was pretending not to care about, and my hair was brushed in a way that softened my face more than usual. Jade looked over at me while she was digging through her makeup bag and said, "Hold still, Lily, you're gonna mess up your liner." I froze. She looked up. "Too much?" I should have said yes. I should have laughed it off. Instead, I said no. Just that. No. And that name stayed with me after that. Lily in the car. Lily in the shower. Lily in bed at night staring at the ceiling. The longer it went on, the worse I got at pretending everything was normal at home. Maddie noticed first. She noticed I'd started being weird about Saturdays. She noticed I came home distracted. She noticed I'd bought face wash I'd never used before. She noticed my mood swung hard for no obvious reason. One night, she stood in the kitchen watching me microwave leftovers and said, "Are you seeing somebody?" I nearly dropped my fork. "What?" she smirked. "You're acting guilty all the time. Usually that means one thing." I forced a laugh. "No." She kept looking at me, not buying it. That should have warned me. But secrets make you stupid. The day everything blew up started almost normal. I told Mom I had a study session. Maddie was on the couch scrolling her phone. I grabbed my keys too fast, said later, and got out before either of them asked anything else. Jade had texted me that morning, "Come over. I found a top that'll look stupidly good on you." By the time I got to her building, my nerves were already bad. I don't know why. Sometimes your body knows something before your brain catches up. I parked on the street and went inside. What I didn't know was Maddie had seen me leave, waited a minute, then followed in her car. Later, I'd think about all the ways it could have gone differently. How maybe if I'd checked my mirror sooner, or if I'd taken one extra turn, or if Jade had asked me to come later, none of it would have happened like that. But it did. Upstairs, Jade had music playing low from her phone. The room smelled like vanilla lotion and hairspray. She handed me a dark green top and said, "Try this first." By then I was changing easier than I used to, but that didn't mean I was calm. My heart still kicked hard every time I stepped into that bathroom with a bundle of women's clothes in my arms. A little while later, I was sitting in front of her dresser mirror while she fixed the corner of my eyeliner. "Stop blinking," she said. "I can't help it." "Yes, you can." "No, I really can't." She laughed under her breath. "You're doing great, by the way." I looked at myself. Soft sweater, leggings, a little liner, a little gloss. Not perfect, not finished, but close enough that my chest started doing that painful, tender thing again. That feeling like I was right on the edge of becoming somebody I already knew. Then came the knock. Hard. Not neighbor hard. Not polite hard. A fist to the door. Jade and I both froze. Another knock. Louder. My stomach dropped straight through me. Jade turned toward the door. "Who is it?" No answer. She frowned and walked out of the bedroom. I stood up too fast, my chair scraping across the floor. My hands went cold. I could hear my own breathing. Then I heard Jade say, "Wait," and Maddie's voice cut through the apartment. "Move." She shoved past Jade so fast Jade stumbled sideways into the wall. A second later, Maddie hit the bedroom doorway and stopped dead. Her eyes locked on me. Not just looked at me, locked. From the eyeliner to the sweater to my bare legs under the hem to the way I was standing there frozen with one hand half lifted like I didn't know what to do with it. For 1 second, nobody said anything. Then Maddie's whole face changed. Shock first, then anger. Then something worse than anger. Something hurt. "What the hell is this?" she said. I opened my mouth and nothing came out. Jade stepped in behind her. "Maddie, just calm down for a second." She turned on Jade so fast it made me flinch. "Don't tell me to calm down." Then she looked back at me. "Ethan," she said, and her voice cracked on my name. "What are you doing?" I still couldn't answer. I could feel my lips shaking. I hated that she could see me like that. Hated that she was seeing the version of me that felt most honest and treating it like a disaster. Maddie took one more step into the room and looked around at the makeup, the clothes on the bed, the open bathroom door, all of it. Then she said the words I'd been afraid of for months. "I'm telling Mom." And standing there in Jade's bedroom, half made up, half hiding, and nowhere left to run, I realized I was not scared of being found out anymore. I was scared of being dragged back. Hit like for part 2. If this reaches 200 likes, I'll continue from the exact second Maddie says, "I'm telling Mom."